Hello, Facebook. Hello, Instagram. Hello, YouTube. What's happening, everybody? Marcus here, and I want to talk about failing restaurant. Failing restaurant owners, failing restaurants. What failing restaurants are lacking? One of the common denominators that failing restaurants, that restaurants that close are lacking. A lot of people think that restaurants are underfunded, and a lot of restaurants are underfunded, but there's something else that they're missing in this that can make a massive, massive difference. Because when I opened, I was very, very undercapitalized, extremely undercapitalized, and I opened up in not the best location. And I am still here 17 years later, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I've learned in this whole process. And I'm going to tell you one thing, that it's not the underfunding, the undercapitalization. Of course, the more money that you have, the more money you're going to burn through. That's just the way that works. And at a certain point, by burning through that money, you're going to hit a cycle where you actually catch up and then start bringing in enough revenue to actually succeed. But a lot of restaurateurs never hit that stage. They never get there. They burn through all their money, and then when all their money's gone, they decide, well, that's it, I'm closing. Now, here's the reality of when I opened my restaurant, 2003, in Ellenville, New York. No other restaurants in town. People are afraid to come into town. I opened up, I was very, very naive. I was a chef who thought, well, people can come for my food and I'm gonna be a massive success, and that's just the situation. I learned very quickly that I was very misled about where my projection of my sales, my budget, very misled, and I went through some very, very, very rough times. And but there was something. Now, to back this up, I opened my restaurant with $50,000. That's it, $50,000. I now have liquor inventory, wine, beer, and spirits that get close to $50,000 every single month. And I opened my restaurant with $50,000 total. And let me tell you something, $50,000 does not go far at all. It does not go far at all in any type of operation that you open. It does not go far. There are all kinds of fees. I was working with one client one time, and they came to install all the soda equipment. So you have to install the soda guns, the machines, and then you have to buy the inventory. And by the time everything was set up, it was over $1,000. Now, if you open with $50,000, $100,000, just to set up soda, to pour soda, to start that, to spend $1,000 or $1,200 on that, is a lot of money, because that's 1% of that $100,000, and you're going to have a lot more expenses. To turn on the electric, to get dumpster pickup. All these people want deposits. Your landlord is going to want another month up front. All this kind of stuff. It's massive, massive money that just goes down the drain instantly. And so I opened up with $50,000. It was not enough. I was totally underfunded. And how did I survive 17 years later? Well, I'm going to reveal that now. So, what is the common denominator in the failing restaurant world? The common denominator of the failing restaurant world is lack of strategy. Lack of strategy. They go in with zero marketing strategy, and they have no idea what to exactly do to market, how to market. My first year, we opened in December, beginning of January. We were open. The little bit of money that I had made extra that summer, because summer's busy, which was nothing compared to what we make now. I literally had maybe $2,000 extra, and said, I'm going to put money on ads. And I placed ad after ad, which at $500 an ad, $600 an ad or more, that doesn't last long. And I was able to place like 3 months of ads in some magazines. And I figured that was going to boost me, and it was going to propel my business. I was going to place these ads. I was going to get recognized. People were going to see me. I literally threw $2,000 down the drain and said, oh crap, I'm out of money. We ran out of money in our first 4 months. The bank account was totally dry. Totally dry, and I had to cut people. I had to get rid of my chef, people in the kitchen. I had to work harder. I had to work in the business harder than ever. And I made this mistake for the first couple years. I just kept spinning my tires. I kept working harder, and still being out of money. And so any logical business person would have been like, it's time to fold. You should have filed bankruptcy for the fourth time now in 3 years, right? 4 years, whatever, 2 years. You should have filed bankruptcy for the fourth time. You idiot, get out of the restaurant industry. So I was out of money, folks. I was totally out of money. I was totally broke. I mean, I had cashed in a life insurance policy 1 year just to be able to get some kind of money. I mean, I had tapped my house out. I mean, I had borrowed money. I maxed every credit card out. I was out, folks. I was out of money. But I'm still here 17 years later, which is the point that I want to explain. It's not the money that restaurant owners are lacking. It's the strategy. So I easily or quickly learned in the beginning to start adapting, trying new things and trying strategies. And the day that I joined a mastermind group, 2008, I joined this marketing mastermind group, and I'd opened in 2004. So 4 years in, I had joined this marketing mastermind group, and I had learned new strategies and new techniques. And these strategies, I remember my second year, my first anniversary of this mastermind group, I had reported a 44% increase over my sales the year before for the first 3 months of the year. Now, a 44% increase is drastic, right? 44%. I'm in business for 4 years, and from January to March or April for that first quarter, I was 44% above the year before. And again, folks, the money situation, I was out of money. I bought things I shouldn't be buying. I was putting things on credit. I was hoping that, I kept telling myself, money comes every day. Money comes every day. I'm going to open the doors today, and another $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 going to come in my door, which was never enough in the beginning, which is never enough. So I joined this marketing mastermind group for restaurants, and I learned strategies that then taught me how to grow my business. Now, I could have done this in the very beginning when I had a couple $1,000 left over. I opened the restaurant. I had $50,000 for my initial investment. I opened up the doors with $7,000 left in my bank account. That's it, $7,000. That $7,000 was able to last until April. I remember in April I was dead broke. I was unable to get no more money out of my house. That was it. 4 months, broke, gone, busted. If I would have taken that $7,000 from the very first day that I opened and put the $1,000 a month into this mastermind group, I would have never been in that situation, because I would have learned strategies that avoided that. And I was talking to somebody yesterday, and we were talking about the best time to hire a consultant, a coach, get on board with hiring a marketing agency. Whoever you're going to hire, the expert you're going to hire, you do it as soon as possible. You get it done right away in the beginning as soon as possible. You don't wait until you're totally out of money and you can't afford it. You hire this person in the beginning. It's a learning lesson, and you learn these strategies. So strategies, marketing strategies, retention strategies, managing your database, all this kind of stuff was what I learned in this mastermind group, and it literally projected my business forward in leaps and bounds once I learned specific strategies. And again, if I had these strategies when I first opened up and I had a few extra $1,000 in the bank, I would have never gotten to that situation. Because after that point of 2008, I've never looked back. It's always been straight ahead forward, growing my business, usually every year growing my business, increasing my profits, spinning off other businesses, doing other things. But as a result of those first 4 years that I struggled, I was able to write my book, 50 Mistakes That Business Owners Make, 50 Mistakes That Restaurant Owners Make. And that book, by the way, is, if you go to my website, go to 50mistakes.com, 50mistakes.com, or marcusguiliano.com, and you will be able to get that book for free. You pay for a few bucks for shipping and handling. You pay a few bucks for that, and we'll ship this book to you. We just got a new batch of books in, brand new books in just now, this last week. We basically almost print them on demand. We print a few hundred at a time, keep them here, and as people buy them, get them for free, we ship them out. You can buy them on Amazon too. They're $19.99. But this is the stuff in here, folks, the strategies. This book, the techniques that are in this book, are literally worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. So even if you had to pay $19.99 for it on Amazon for full price, these are still hundreds of thousands of dollars. Techniques that I learned, strategies that I learned, things that changed my business from broke to booming, right here in this book. I documented everything because I had those very real hard struggles in the beginning. I was able to document it. Now I'm able to consult other restaurants and help other restaurants grow and things like that. So, the point of this whole video is it's not money that restaurateurs run out of. It's strategies, lack of strategies, and a lot of chef owners, a lot of chefs, a lot of restaurateurs are very stubborn people. They will literally watch the ship sink and think they've done everything possible to actually save their restaurant. And in reality, they've barely done anything to save their restaurant. Especially when I start going through and like, you're wasting money on this. Your website isn't this. Your website doesn't have this. You're not doing that. I can list tons and tons and tons of things. But at that point, and it's not too late. By the way, folks, it's not too late because you can overcome these things like Jamie and I did. The thing you can't overcome is the non-willingness to learn, the non-willingness to change and move forward. That's the big thing that you have to be able to do, is move forward and understand that, hey, I have to change what's going on. I can't keep repeating the same things over and over and over and expect a different result. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. I appreciate it. Got a couple other restaurateurs on right now. I see Greg on. I see Brock. How's it going, Brock? Brock has 2 restaurants. Raj is on. Raj is in the industry, and a couple other people. So again, this is on YouTube, Facebook Live, and in Instagram. So thank you, everybody, for tuning on all 3 channels. Just drop a comment if you're watching live, where you're tuning in from, and just drop a comment, hashtag live or hashtag replay. And again, folks, the main point of this video is it's not money that restaurateurs run out of. It is lack of strategy. I ran out of money several times. And even to this day, there are a lot of times, not a lot of times, but there's certain times of the year where cash flow is low. And if you don't budget and manage and save, we feel that crunch today. If there's unexpected expenses that come up, you have to replace this, you have to replace a furnace, you have to put in a compressor here, this and that. This burns away your reserve money. And there are times that, that even as a seasoned restaurateur, that cash flow sucks. And it feels like, I am broke. But that's not the reality of the business. You can never judge a business based upon a bad week, a bad day, things like that. I worked in the country club industry for a while before I opened my own restaurant. And country clubs in the off season, they are broker than broke. All right, they're just flat out busted and broke. They close in the middle of the winter because a lot of them just can't survive, and there's no cash flow coming in, there's no dues coming in. But it doesn't mean that they're not a successful country club. Because all of a sudden the cycle comes back around, spring comes, the golf course opens, more memberships come in, people start paying dues again, the restaurants start flourishing again on these country clubs. So then it comes back to that whole cycle again. But again, you have to be prepared for those low times. Just because I've been in business 17 years doesn't mean that I don't suffer from time to time or feel the crunch time to time. It's still all very real part of the business. But it's nothing like my first 4 years when I was in business, and there was just, I tapped everything out that I had just to get by and and just hoping that something would change. And nothing changed my first 4 years. Yeah, we got marginally busier. If I had an extra $100,000 in the bank, I could have done more. I could have, built something a little bigger. That's done a little more wasted marketing, and probably have gotten to the point where, I would have gotten to the point where the restaurant could have become a success, but with a lot more money. So again, folks, strategy. If you don't have strategy, you don't have a solid marketing strategy, the number one thing that every restaurant, what am I trying to say? Asset. Your number one asset in the restaurant industry is your database. Your database is massive. That is where you want to retarget people. That's where you send emails out. And a lot of people think email marketing is dead. Only 9% of restaurants right now have an active email marketing strategy. 18% of emails across the country actually send out emails, but 9 out of that 18%, or half of the 18%, send like less than 1 email a month. That's really no strategy. It's just random emails here and there, like, hey, we're open Christmas. Hey, we're open 4th of July. Hey, Mother's Day brunch. There's no retargeting. There's so much stuff in emails that can be done, and we actually have a free course on emails. Every once in our free course, just drop us a comment, free email course, and we'll get you our free email course, which has like 35 or 40 videos in it on how to really explode your email marketing. In fact, that's one of my speeches 2020 in New York at the restaurant show, and in California and Florida, wherever else I speak. That's going to be part of my big speech this year, is how to blow up email marketing. So out of that 18% of restaurants that are doing email marketing, half of them are only doing it actively, which means if you start an email campaign, you are one of the 9% of restaurants across the country that has an active email strategy, email marketing platform that is actually doing something. So this is huge and massive. If you're sending out postcards, if you're doing snail mail, if you're doing newsletters, if you're doing that things in the mail, massive, massive results, amazing results. And these are things that we teach in the 50 Mistakes book, in the 50 Mistakes we now call Restaurant Growth Secrets University, which is our online platform, which has, I don't know, hours and hours, 50, 60 hours of online tutorial videos. When you become a client of ours, you get access to that, whether you're a coaching client or a marketing client or both or comboed, or you can just buy the course by itself. But there's literally 50, 60 hours of in-depth videos in there on how to market your business. The strategies in there are the strategies that made my business, that turned my business around, that actually, you know, I went from broke to, from busted and broke to booming. All the strategies that I use are totally in there. The strategies that I used to grow my business in 1 year for the first quarter, year to year for the previous year, 44%, that all those strategies are in there. All that is revealed, all that's in there. A lot of it's in the book as well, but the video tutorials are really much more in depth. All right, folks, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. I appreciate the support, and talk to you later.